everybody. I've got a Bible study for you all today. Actually, this Bible study is the same lesson as my Sunday school lesson of a few Sundays ago. This Bible study I would like to call the It Factor. I'm reading from Romans chapter 3, verse 23. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. We all have an it factor in our character that causes us to struggle in our relationship with God. We have this little flaw that in our character, this little flaw in us that causes us to stumble in our walk with Him. We all have embarrassing skeletons in our closet. I have embarrassing skeletons in my closet, and I do not care to share them, but we all have embarrassing skeletons, even the best of us. It does not matter how much you love God. David loved God with all his heart, and he committed sin with Bathsheba, the sin of the flesh, and the sin of lust. And later on, Satan provoked his pride, and he acted in pride to number the children of Israel. It does not matter how wise you are. Solomon, David's son, was the wisest man. He was probably the wisest king in all Israel, and he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. That's a lot of strange women in his life, and they led him to idolatry and apostasy. It does not matter how strong you are. Samson was the strongest judge in the book of Judges, and he flirted with Delilah, and he ended up in captivity in the Philistines' hands with his eyes poked out. Doesn't it matter how zealous you are? Peter, he was so zealous. He was the most zealous disciple of Jesus, and he ended up denying Jesus 3 times. He had a lapse of faith. It does not matter how faithful you are. Moses was very faithful to God, and he led the children of Israel. But one time in the book of Numbers, he lost his temper, and he ended up disobeying God, which caused him to miss out entering into the Canaan land. I worked on this little project looking at every king of Israel and Judah, and every king had an it factor. Some kings did good in the Lord, but they still had it factors. King Uzziah, he lived for God, but he crossed lines and did a priest's duty. Joash leaned on the man of God, and when that man of God died, he fell over. He leaned on the wrong counsel. He lacked spiritual growth. Hezekiah, he lived for God, but he had a little problem with pride. He repented of his pride, but at one point his pride blinded his judgment, and he allowed the scouts to see everything in his household. And he lost everything. Not in his generation, but the next generation. Josiah, my favorite king, he did great things. He did a lot of reforms to clean up the temple of God, but he messed with battles that did not concern him. Sin comes in 3 categories, and it's I'm looking at 1 John 2:16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. So there are three categories of sin: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. It is easy to distinguish lust, but pride is the very tricky part to pinpoint. We can recognize lust, but pride is the tricky one. The devil, he likes to use our it factor and use it against us. He likes to make the it factor put chains on us and slowly drag us to hell if we do not overcome our it factor. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I'll continue in the next video.